I never should have opened my sister's laptop after she disappeared. But the file she left on the desktop was titled For Mark and Only Mark, and I'm not strong enough to ignore a direct message from a dead woman. Her name was Ellie. She vanished on a Tuesday in early October 2 years ago from the parking lot of a 24-hour grocery store in our hometown of Ridgemont, Illinois. The police found her car, still running, a half-full cart of groceries abandoned by the trunk. No witnesses, no security footage that showed anything useful. The case went cold so fast it felt like a joke, a cruel, bureaucratic shrug. I spent 2 years doing what you're supposed to do. I posted on missing person forums. I called the detective every month until he stopped answering. I put her face on milk cartons that nobody reads. I even hired a private investigator who took my money and gave me nothing but a receipt. Then last week I found her laptop. It was in the back of my parents' attic, buried under a box of Christmas decorations and a layer of dust so thick it felt like sediment. Ellie had lived with me for a few months before she disappeared, and I guess the laptop had gotten lost in the chaos of the move. The battery was dead. The screen was cracked in one corner. But when I plugged it in and held the power button, it booted up like it had been waiting. The desktop was clean. No clutter. Just a single folder called Work Stuff and that text file. For Mark and Only Mark. I'm Mark, I'm her older brother, and I swear to you I hesitated for a full 10 minutes before I clicked it. I had this primal animal feeling that opening that file would change something, that I would cross a line I couldn't uncross. But the alternative was to go on living with the silence, and I couldn't do that anymore. The file was a log, not a diary, not a letter. A log, dated entries, each one time stamped, like a lab report or a clinical observation. She had written about 24 of them, spanning the 3 months before she vanished. The first entry was dated July 8th. I'm going to read it to you because I need someone else to know what I know. I need someone else to feel the weight of this. July 8th. Started seeing the woman in the mirrors today. She's not a reflection. She's behind the glass. I know that sounds crazy. Mark would say I'm sleep-deprived, but she's there. She stands exactly 3 feet behind me and she doesn't move. She just watches. I tried looking directly at her, but when I turn around, there's nothing, only in the mirror. I put a towel over the bathroom mirror tonight. I don't want to see her. I stopped reading. My hands were shaking. Ellie had never mentioned anything like this to me. We talked every week. She would have told me if she thought she was being haunted or stalked. Right, I kept reading. July 15th. She's in every reflective surface now. Windows at night, the glass on the picture frames, my phone screen when it's dark. She's always there, always 3 feet behind me. I tried to photograph her. The photo shows an empty room, but I can see her with my own eyes. I feel like I'm being watched by something that technology can't capture. I'm not sleeping. I'm not eating. I'm afraid to blink. August 1st. I found out what she wants. She wants me to look at her. For real, she mouths the words, "Look at me." She does it over and over like a broken recording. I thought if I ignored her, she would go away, but she's getting closer. Yesterday she was 2 feet behind me. Today she's 1 foot. I can see the details of her face now. She's not human. She's shaped like one, but her face is wrong. The proportions are subtle. Her eyes are too far apart. Her mouth is too wide. It's like looking at a photograph of a person that's been stretched in Photoshop. But she's real, and she's coming. August 10th. I tried to leave my apartment. I packed a bag. I got to the front door, but the woman was in the reflection of the peephole. She was right there, her eye pressed to the glass on the other side. I couldn't open the door. I couldn't make myself touch the handle. I'm trapped here, Mark. I don't know how to explain it, but the mirrors are a cage. She's using them to keep me contained. The entries got shorter after that, more fragmented. Her handwriting in the text file started to degrade into typos and missing words. She was losing the battle. August 24th. She's in the reflection of my tea. I saw her face in the surface of the liquid. I threw the mug against the wall. Now I'm afraid to drink anything. I'm afraid of puddles. I'm afraid of my own eyes. September 3rd. I figured out the rules. She can only move through reflections. She can't touch me directly, but she can influence objects on my side. I knocked a glass off the counter last night and it broke in a perfect line. When I looked up, she had drawn something in the shards. She drew the layout of my apartment, and she marked the front door. September 15th. I'm not going to write much longer. I'm going to try something. I'm going to look at her. I'm going to look directly into the mirror and not look away. I think that's the only way out. Either I'll see her for what she really is, or she'll take me. But I can't live like this anymore. The reflection is my whole world now. The log ended there. The next entry was the grocery store parking lot, the night she disappeared. I sat in my living room for 3 hours after I finished reading. I didn't move, I didn't even breathe right. I was trying to piece together what Ellie had been describing with what the police had told me. There were no bruises on her body, no signs of a struggle. She just stepped out of frame. And then I made a mistake. I looked at my own reflection. I was in my kitchen holding a glass of water I didn't remember pouring. And I saw her, behind me 3 feet away, same as Ellie described. She was tall, gaunt. Her hair was dark and stringy, hanging past her shoulders. Her skin was the color of wet ash. And her face, God, her face was wrong in that subtle, stomach-turning way Ellie had tried to explain. The eyes were too far apart, the mouth was too wide, and it was smiling, not a friendly smile, a smile of recognition, like she'd been waiting for me. I spun around. The kitchen was empty, no one there. But when I turned back to the glass, the reflection hadn't changed. She was still there, still smiling, and now she was holding up one finger like, wait. I dropped the glass. It shattered on the tiles. I didn't look down. I ran. I sprinted to my bedroom and locked the door and pulled the blankets over my head like I was 7 years old. I stayed there until morning. I didn't sleep. I listened. There were no footsteps, no breathing, just the hum of the refrigerator and the distant sound of a neighbor's television. But when I finally got up and stumbled to the bathroom, I checked the mirror. She was still there, and she had moved closer. 2 feet behind me now. That was 3 days ago. I've been living in a house of mirrors and I can't escape. I've taken down every reflective surface I can. I threw a blanket over the TV. I taped cardboard over the bathroom mirror. I'm typing this by the light of my phone, looking down at the screen, terrified of the black glass when the display goes dark. Last night I made a mistake. I looked out my window before I closed the curtains. It was dark outside and the glass showed the room behind me. She was there 1 foot behind and she was mouthing something. I watched her lips form the words, over and over. Look at me, Mark, look at me. I could see her hands now. They were too long. The fingers were jointed in extra places. She was pressing her palms against the glass like she was standing on the other side of a window waiting to be let in. I didn't look away fast enough. I made eye contact, and I felt it, a pressure behind my eyes, a coldness spreading from my forehead down into my skull. For 1 split second, I saw her world, a place with no lights, no sounds. Just endless reflective surfaces, each one showing a version of my sister trapped, her mouth open in a scream I couldn't hear. Then it was gone. But I know what I have to do now. I have to do what Ellie tried to do. I have to look directly at the woman in the mirror and not look away. That's the only door. That's the only way out. I've set up my laptop to record. I'm going to point it at the mirror in my hallway. I'm going to stand in front of it and I'm going to look. Maybe you'll see this video. Maybe you won't. Maybe I'll end up like Ellie, a missing person case with a car running and a cart full of groceries. But I have to know. She's right behind me now as I type this. I can see her in the dark reflection of my phone screen. She's not smiling anymore. She's waiting. I'm going to the hallway. If this is the last thing I ever write, don't look at the mirrors. Don't look at the windows at night. Don't look at anything that shows you the world behind you, because something might be looking back, and it's closer than you think.